I'm Insomniac, and this is the Berg Ulriken. Alright, so back in January, a gentleman named Morton reached out to see if I'd be interested in reviewing one of their watches. I'd never heard of Berg watches before. They're a relatively new brand out of Norway. Their backstory is actually pretty interesting. I won't bore you with all that though. Go to their website, bergwatches.com, check out the About section, you can read it. So I took a look at the website, and after looking through their men's watches section, I came to the conclusion that they only have one watch.
You cannot be serious!
And despite the fact that they market themselves as a minimalist brand, I took a look at the dial on the one type of watch that they had, and I almost declined to do the review.
Now, story getting interesting.
Don't get me wrong, the website and the pictures were of great quality, but the watch just looked boring to me. Minimalist indeed, but to a fault, in my opinion, based on those pictures. But I figured, you know what? This channel's fairly new, watches aren't easy to come by, sure, what the hell, send one in. So Morton told me to choose whatever combination I wanted from the website to be sent in for review, and this was one of the first positives that I noticed about the brand. Despite the fact that they only technically sell one watch, they have 3 different case colors, 5 different dial colors, and 6 different strap colors to choose from, which gives you a lot of possible combinations.
Wow, the possibilities!
I went with a very clean, neutral, white dial and silver case combination on a blue strap. Now honestly, I didn't expect to have great things to say about this watch, but once I got it, I dug into the specs and I spent some time with it. My opinion started to change. Let me take you through my experience piece by piece. First of all, there was the packaging. Once I received the package, which by the way, got to me here in the United States from Norway surprisingly quick, I was confused. I opened the package and inside were these 2 small cardboard housings, one for the strap and one for the watch itself. I had immediate mixed emotions about this. On the plus side, I like the no-frills simplicity of not having a box and tags and manuals because it just works right with the brand's image. On the minus side, I thought I own a spring bar tool, but what if somebody doesn't? They're gonna have a frustrating time putting that strap on. Well, it turns out you wouldn't be frustrated even if you don't own a spring bar tool, because their straps have a built-in quick release system, which not only makes putting the strap on super simple, but it also encourages you to want other colors of straps so you can change them on the go and match your clothing. That's pretty cool. Well, now I had the strap on the watch, but I still wasn't exactly excited about this piece.
Don't care, still don't care.
That is, until I started going through the specs and exploring the piece in closer detail. First we have the movement. Berg used a Swiss-made Ronda 704 gold-plated 5-jewel quartz movement, so we're talking precision timekeeping here, that's for sure. It's a simple 2-hand setup with the only complication being a date function, and as expected, it keeps time flawlessly. Moving on to the case, it's a polished stainless steel case measuring 40 millimeters in diameter, 46 millimeters lug to lug, and just under 8.5 millimeters thick. I think 40 millimeters is a great size to begin with, but between the shortness of the lugs and the super slim height, it actually wears and feels a bit smaller than a 40 millimeter. The quality of the machined angles of the case as well as the quality of the polish are both pretty good and have a solid quality look. The case back is also a nicely polished stainless steel, and on top of the assorted information about the watch, including a water resistance of 5 atmospheres, there's a cool engraving of Mount Ulriken in Norway, which in a way explains the name of the watch, being that Berg means mountain in Norwegian and Ulriken is the name of the series. A nice little detail in my opinion. The crown is a tiny little thing, but then again it needs to be, being that the case is so thin. Despite being so small, fine details went into the little crown, like an engraved bee, as well as finely machined grooves for easy manipulation of the crown when adjusting the time or date. The crystal is another high quality feature on this watch. The flat flush crystal on this watch is made of scratch resistant sapphire and has a fairly good anti-reflective coating. Underneath the sapphire crystal is that overly simplistic dial, but even here quality details can be found upon closer inspection. Other than the printed name at 12, the only other thing on the dial are the indices, which are fairly thick, applied polished stick-style hour markers, with applied Roman numerals at the 12 and 6 positions. The sword-style hands match the indices and case perfectly and are about the right length and width for this dial. The only other thing visible on this watch is a date window at the 4 o'clock position, and this is one of the only things that I really don't like about the watch.
Oh man, here we go.
Personally, I prefer to have a date complication on a watch. It's a super useful function on any watch. And although this one is subtle, simple, and matches the dial color just right, I think it's a bit too small for reading the date at a quick glance. And based on how simple and minimalist the dial is, I feel that an angled date window at 4 o'clock doesn't have as good a flow or balance on the dial as it could have at the 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock position. But besides the date window, which could be a little bit bigger and in a better position, the dial does minimalist well and does it with a solid quality feel. Onto the strap, which might just be the most interesting thing about this watch.
Sounds interesting.
The strap is 20 millimeters wide at the lugs, tapering down to around 17 millimeters, and it has a polished steel buckle with the brand name lightly engraved into it, which matches the case perfectly. Of course, those aren't the interesting parts. The material is what makes it most interesting, as Berg uses Icelandic salmon leather for its watch straps. Salmon leather is said to be 10 times stronger than regular leather, which should mean better durability in the long run, and its visual texture is one of the most unique that I've seen on a watch strap. Pair that with the rich blue hue used to finish the strap, and the fact that this strap is pliable and comfortable right out of the box, and I'd say that the strap is a win. On the wrist, the Berg is very present, yet not present at all.
What the hell does that mean?
Let me explain.
In terms of visual wrist presence, the 40mm solid colored dial with contrasting polished silver indices is pretty noticeable, and with a strap as interesting as this one, it adds even a bit more eye-catching appeal to the outside observer. Yet in terms of wrist feel, it's super light, very comfortable, and slides under any long-sleeve shirt or jacket with ease, so I often found it easy to forget that I was wearing it throughout the day. So it's noticeable without being flashy, and comfortable without feeling cheap or insignificant. So what do I think about the Berg Ulriken? Despite being a bit too plain for my tastes, and definitely not being an interesting watch to run mechanically, I actually formed an appreciation for this piece while I've had it. It didn't grow on me a whole lot aesthetically. It's definitely not an unattractive watch, but like I said earlier, a bit too plain for my tastes. The appreciation I found for this watch was in the details. The engravings, the quality of the case and the indices, the use of sapphire for the crystal, the use of salmon leather for the strap, and the simple comfort and legibility of this watch while it's on the wrist all day. I definitely appreciated all of those aspects. Berg sells these watches for $250 on their website, and when I originally saw that, I thought that was completely nuts for such a simple quartz watch.
You definitely lost it.
But the use of high-quality materials blended with the successful execution of a minimalist watch that functions well almost makes it worth the $250 in my opinion. If you like clean, simple, accurate timepieces and you like a lot of choices, then I definitely say that you should check them out. The fact of the matter is that you can find other watches that look very similar to this, but there's definitely a level of detail and quality to these pieces that separate them from some of the other just simple, minimalist, almost fashion-only oriented type of watches. This gives you a bit more than that. If I were going to rate the Berg on a scale from 1 to 10 Mike Tysons, I'd give it a 7.5. Definitely a solid offering. Just don't love where the date window is, and I know that there's quality work here, but I'm still not maybe 100% convinced that $250 is a competitive price for this style of watch, being so simple and being quartz, despite the use of high quality materials. Not outlandish, I just feel that it rides the line pretty close based on the type of watch that it is. Otherwise, it definitely exceeded my original expectations by far, and if you like this style of watch, I would definitely say to go over to the website, pick one of your favorite combinations, and give one of these Berg watches a try. Another shout out to Berg Watches for sending this in. I definitely appreciate it. They wanted an honest review, and I'm pretty sure they got one. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. I have more watch reviews coming soon. Check out my Patreon page, that link is down there somewhere if you want to support the channel. I also have 2 other channels you can check out if you like cigars or coffee. I should have those links down there as well, or you could get to them through the Patreon page. And yeah, I'll see you all at the next one.